So my name's Charlie Pauly. Like you say there, I'm a full-time travel creator, work mainly on socials. Instagram is my main platform, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook.
Were you like trained in photography, videography? Like how did you get that skill set to that level?
Absolutely zero. Yeah,
Really?
YouTube. Like it was a hustle, yeah. We
Yeah.
just self-taught everything.
How do you get deals with tourism boards?
A lot of it now at my stage comes to me, but in the beginning, I was just blind sending emails.
Do you feel like you've made any major mistakes throughout your journey?
The last year's been difficult because of the transition period from going from a travel couple to now a solo male. I lost like 50,000 followers.
Really?
Yeah. You got to just not worry what people think. You're going to get shitty comments. You're going to get people, you know, when I started, my friends back home were laughing.
Really?
You know, me posing on the beach with my girlfriend. What you up to? But now I'm getting paid to travel the world.
How do you actually earn an income? Can you break down like some of your income streams?
Yeah, this is key.
Hi, Charlie.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Long time no see.
I know. I'm so excited to talk to you today because Charlie is a very successful travel creator, and anyone who's ever tried to become a travel creator, which by the way, I've tried to do this before, didn't work. It's hard. It's a challenging niche, and you've been doing it successfully for like what, 6 years?
6 years
did you
now.
say?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's anyone to get on the podcast to talk about it, I feel like you're the right person.
Pick my brains.
Why don't we start with you giving us a bit of an intro as to who you are?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So my name's Charlie Pauly. Like you say there, I'm a full-time travel creator. So work mainly on socials. Instagram is my main platform, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. And then I have a blog where I write guides, itineraries and articles as well. So I mean, yeah, travel creator, travel blogger, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, been doing it for 6 years now. There's a long story, but I'll keep it short. Basically, 2016, me and my ex-girlfriend went traveling. We're both into photography and videography. Started documenting our journey around India, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, places like this as we traveled through Asia, documenting it and taking pretty pictures on Instagram. And in that stage, there was no blueprint. There was no influencer. There was no content creator.
Yeah.
And we just got in early, I think, into the travel couple niche.
Yeah.
And as we traveled and grew the platform, it just became a business. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that period of time where like travel creators were absolutely thriving, still thriving now, but I remember that it was just before Reels.
Yeah.
So it was very much still focused on like the really dramatic,
aesthetic,
like beautiful photos. I miss those days. I'm not gonna lie, man.
It's actually wild. Like when I look back, I think I lived that life.
Yeah.
But like, bikini photos on the beach with my girlfriend, doing the kissing. Like, yeah. If you wanted a beautifully like well presented aesthetic piece of art, we captured it, man. Yeah,
I love it.
We were that couple, but yeah, things have changed a lot, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, that's kind of how I got in early to the whole social media game.
Yeah. So were you like trained in photography, videography? Like how did you get that skill set to that level?
Absolutely zero. Yeah,
really?
YouTube. Like it was a hustle. Yeah, we were just documenting. Like we bought our first camera. It was like a Nikon D300 or something. It was like £300. We thought, we'll buy a DSLR so we can take nice pictures when we're traveling. Started posting them on Instagram. Noticed that when we posted photos as a couple together, more people would like it, and people were getting involved and following the journey. And then from there we were like, we need to level up. So YouTube, man. We just self-taught everything, studied, editing, filming, using Photoshop and Lightroom and stuff like that. And just a lot of hours on YouTube, a lot of late nights traveling around Asia, and just putting the hard work in, I guess. I
love that though, because it proves that you actually don't need to be like trained 100%. In order to get really good at that stuff. And literally YouTube is like the perfect place to learn anything, to be honest. But that's really reassuring, because I'm sure, in fact, I say I'm sure, I know for a fact because I've spoken to several creators, especially those who want to get into like the travel and experiences niche. And they always say like, I don't know, I don't have the fanciest kit and like, I don't know how to do editing and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, you can just learn it.
100%, man. I think it's something I preach quite a lot is I got 2 arms and legs and a brain like everyone else, man. If I see someone else doing something, whether it's online, in real life, in the movie, I think I could do that, man.
Yeah.
100%. And especially nowadays where you have got YouTube, which is literally a free online library of, skill sets.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely just about, I think most people's mindset is more of the fact they might not have the skill set, but they're maybe also scared to learn, and they're scared of that vulnerability of putting something out there and it not being as good as everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big downfalls of why people don't start or succeed in social media is because they're too nervous about that kind of the fear, you know?
Yeah, it's the fear of being bad at something new.
Exactly.
But everyone is bad
100%.
at something new. And you don't get good at it until you start doing it anyway. Yeah. Again, like something that I speak to a lot of people about quite frequently. And also people start something and they compare themselves to someone who is at like step 10.
Absolutely.
So like someone like yourself, they will probably look at your content and be like, oh my God, I've got to be more like Charlie.
Yeah, I've got to be
You've
like
been doing it for 6 years.
Yeah. And when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. I think that they forget that every expert was once a beginner.
Yeah.
It's such an overused like cliche quote, but it's so true. So it's okay, man. But again, I don't want to go too deep, but I think also that comes down to like being comfortable in yourself. You know, like you got to just not worry what people think. You're going to get shitty comments. You're going to get people, you know, when I started, my friends back home were laughing.
Really?
You know, me posing on the beach with my girlfriend. What you up to? But now I'm getting paid to travel the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all part of the journey, but yeah, you got to just brush off people's opinions and especially strangers on the internet. Like, go for it, man.
Yeah.
Better to live with those opportunities and going forward than live with regret, you know?
Yeah. And I always think like when I first got started and you know, when you first start to get the hate messages, because I feel like that's the time where you're like, oh, okay, I've got to figure out how I'm going to handle this.
Yeah.
And then most of the time people do move past it and it doesn't bother you anymore, which I think a lot of people forget to mention. Like it doesn't hurt. Like, you know, when you first see hate messages, it bothers you. It doesn't normally trigger you as much over time. I think it's the first couple ones. I don't know if you had a similar experience. It was my first couple ones where I was like, oh, people have strong opinions of me that I don't know. And I found it very weird. I'm like, well, I've never met this person yet they really feel strongly about me.
Yeah, it's true.
And that was like a weird moment. But then after a while, especially if you decide, actually, I'm not going to let this stranger who I'm never going to meet have such a power over my life and my decisions.
Absolutely.
It doesn't actually bother you anywhere near as much.
It's a mindset thing. And especially as well, like, again, it's so simple, but you get one bad comment, even still to this day, that little comment stands out. You look at the stats, you got 50 good comments.
Yeah.
You got a massive, like, I've got such a loyal, supportive network behind me. And then one little stranger that might not even follow me on social media just pops up, says something, and I'm like, damn, what, really? Oh man, like, but yeah, you just got to swerve it. Swerve the negativity, man. 100%.
So you've been doing this for 6 years. How has that journey looked for you? Has it been like an upward trajectory? Have you had some ups and downs? Like, talk me through that.
Yeah. I guess for the first few years, it was all like I say, I got in there early. It was all very upward trajectory.
Yeah.
It was all very like on the rise. You know, on top of that, we were traveling, we were having a great time in Asia. Then I guess the main struggle was the financial side. Coming in at the beginning where we're putting a lot of the money into our travels and documenting it. And then you might get a little, the hustle was real. We were sending out emails and I designed a media kit. I didn't really know what I was doing. Then you get a bit of money up and down. So I guess the biggest struggle in the beginning was the financial side.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, the business, I think as long as you evolve and roll with all the changes of social media and the way, you just got to be adaptable.
Yeah.
You really got to be adaptable in the online space because as you've seen in the recent years, you know, all of a sudden TikTok comes along, you got to jump on that. All of a sudden Reels, like we basically trained ourselves to be photographers.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, people are only watching videos.
Yeah.
Reels, TikToks. And now I'm like, okay, cool. We got to adapt now.
Yeah.
No one wants to see my pretty pictures.
Yeah.
We've got to do Reels. And now it's you just got to be adaptable. Yeah.
So I want to talk about that a bit more actually, especially just social media in general, because you make such a good point. I remember when Reels became really popular. Was this like, I want to say like 2020? Was it 2020 and 2021?
Yeah, I feel like it was like lockdown period.
Yeah, it was. And that's obviously when TikTok was becoming popular and then suddenly it was like, oh my God, we need to create videos. And I'm guessing you're like similar age to me. I feel like we're similar age, like millennials 32. Okay, I'm 30. Yeah, so we're similar age. So for us, like, especially when we were growing up, it was photos.
Yes.
Like I remember a time having a camera phone that couldn't take videos. Yeah. Like it really wasn't.
That's true, isn't it? Times were hard.
Times were hard. I had like a black and white phone at one point.
It's true.
So we actually, do you remember that?
Mad.
Like Nokia 3310 or whatever.
3310.
So we actually grew up with like photos being the main thing. Yeah. And a lot of people in a similar situation really struggled and actually fell off in like 2020, 2021 because they were like, I do not know how to adapt. Yeah. And a lot of people, if you go on the head of Instagram, Adam Mazzari, if you go on his like Instagram posts, most of the comments are like, bring back photos. Like people
still want them.
People still want them.
Yeah.
And, you know, they have made some changes to the algorithm recently where your photos can get a good amount of reach, not quite the same as reels, but it's getting better. So I just want to know from you, like, what steps did you actually take to adapt and change? Because you're the perfect example of someone who was like photos.
Yeah, very successful in the photo field, and then video came along. I think I was very, I hate using the word lucky, but fortunate that I'm quite confident. I was good, like, okay, let's make videos. I'll talk on camera, I'll chat, I'll have some fun. Whereas I think a lot of people that failed were comfortable taking photos and almost not hiding behind the screen, but that was their niche. But they couldn't talk to a camera. And I understand that.
It's a whole nother thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not for everybody. But yeah, for me, it was just like, okay, we're gonna just make it more visual, maybe get a bit of voice and face involved. And I think that's actually where I've strived is, especially nowadays, something I want to talk about is anyone now can pick up a phone and make a pretty picture. The thing I have going for me is my personality, really. Like I know I say I'm self-taught with the photo and videography. I'm no expert. I never claim to be the best photographer, videographer, but I'm confident. And I think I'd like to think I'm a relatable person when I travel. And I think really video has been a blessing for me because it's allowed me to get my personality through a lot more. I think that's what a lot of creators should try and do. If you've got that personality, show it. For sure.
That's the thing, what helps you stand out across like other people as well.
Kind of one of the main things that's going to make you stand out nowadays, because you know, iPhones are getting so good. They can just make a pretty sunset video and put some music on it and it's the same as everybody else.
You're so right. You're so right. So you have a combined following. I did some quick math.
Okay, here we go.
360,000. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
So you're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, and Facebook.
Yeah.
Talk
we don't mess
me
about.
through, like literally not like absolutely no joke. Like I thought I was on a lot of platforms. Talk me through the Facebook decision, because bit of context as to why I'm curious. I went to a conference earlier this year and a lot of the talks were talking about Facebook and how it's having like a second wind. I mean, by this point, it's probably like its fifth or sixth wind.
A lot of wind,
a lot of winds. And how it's starting to become more popular again, and its integration with Reels and the fact that you can change your profile to be like a creator account and you can repost your Reels, and you're actually, a lot of people are seeing a lot more reach on their Facebook Reels versus their Instagram Reels. I have yet to try this out, but I'm curious from you, what is your strategy behind your Facebook presence?
I'm probably the worst person to ask.
But you've got like 10K on there.
Yeah. But I feel like Facebook has just always been a back burner for me. I don't use it. I don't use it personally. It's just like my school friends are on there, and I feel like it's definitely an older demographic to use Facebook. So all I do, really, honestly, when I say strategy, there's no strategy. I post my stuff on Instagram and then you repost. And I copy it.
That is a strategy. You're repurposing.
Like, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'll bang it on every single platform. And usually if it takes off on one, it'll take off on the others. But yeah, Facebook, it's more like, originally I just set up the Facebook to keep my parents happy. You know, and they would tell their friends like, oh, look at Charlie, he's traveling, blah blah.
Cute.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like that's plateaued and just been pretty
really,
for a long time.
Really standard.
So we'll see.
So out of those platforms then, like, which one is your biggest? I already know, but which one's like your biggest and your favorite platform?
For me, I've always been Instagram.
He's wavering.
I don't have many regrets in life. But I should have gone YouTube, man. I should have gone YouTube. Yeah, like we just focused all our attention on Instagram. And I mean, I wouldn't change anything because it allowed me to get to this stage now and live the life that I'm living, and it's amazing. So yeah, Instagram's my main platform in terms of numbers and where I get my brand deals and stuff like that. But I think I prefer YouTube just because of the community. And the people there, if they're gonna, you know, Instagram has become very finicky. People just scroll past, they give it a double tap, scroll. It's so quick. And you pour in your heart and your life into this content and it just gets dismissed. Whereas YouTube, these people are going to sit down and watch you for 10, 20, sometimes 30 minutes. They're dedicating a lot of time to you. And they really, really are hardcore. I hate fans, followers, whatever, but it's a good community. And also YouTube as a company, they seem to, like we were just touching beforehand, it's they give back. They really care about their creators and the community. So I'm definitely moving forward this summer. I've just taken on a couple of videographers. I'm really going to try and smash the YouTube space. I've got like a decent enough following on YouTube, but I've never really paid it a lot of attention. And I feel like that's where maybe my priorities need to change. And I can produce, you know, long form content on YouTube, and then we can chop out snippets, repurpose it for Instagram, and still have that high quality travel content on Instagram, but not put all my time and effort into that.
It's like a secondary channel.
Exactly. So actually, I'll keep Instagram going because it's my money maker. But
course.
yeah, YouTube, I think I'm going to switch into that.
Yeah. So you just mentioned you've hired 2 videographers. So why 2 and like what's their role?
Yeah. So for me, when I split with my ex-girlfriend almost a year ago, we were managing the business together. Now I've taken on double the amount with just one human. So I realized now is the time I need to outsource. So this past year for me, I've just been outsourcing. So I've obviously got a manager that deals with my paid partnerships and stuff. I've taken on a content writer who writes the articles for my blog and my website. And then just recently I've taken on 2, I mean, not taken on, but they're freelance, but I've got 2 or 3 videographers in London that I can pull in when I need them and pay them a day rate.
Cool.
Just to up the levels and up the quality and the quantity of videos that I'm putting out.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was just my main thought was behind that was to like just up the levels really.
Yeah. And how did you go about finding all of these people?
Instagram.
Nice.
I just advertise it on my stories. So again, I'm fortunate that I've got a platform and people that want to get involved and like you say, how do you do this? How do you do that? Or they send it on to their friends. So whenever I need something from my community, I'll put it out on my story. Yeah. I mean, you've got websites like Upwork and Fiverr and stuff like this where you can find editors and people. But for me, I've always thought I'd rather take on someone that's already invested in my brand and that actually cares about me than a stranger. Yeah. That's just going to get paid and move on. You know? Yeah. I'm really in a fortunate position at the minute where I'm taking on people that already care and are invested in me. Yeah. Yeah. And
do you get nervous, context for this question, a lot of the time when creators are ready to hire, especially in like the editing or videography department, they get nervous because they're like, okay, but how do I ensure they're doing it to the same quality or they've got the same eye? Because obviously it's such a creative industry that we're in. Yeah. How do you manage that thought process? Like
that was something like I'm very... what's the word? Protective of my thing. And I think that's something I struggled with in the beginning with outsourcing is no one's going to do it to your standard. Or, you know, you're very lucky if you find someone that is that passionate and does it to your standard. But in order to grow, you can't hold all the balls. You can't juggle everything. And also what you might realize in what I've realized is by outsourcing, there'll be people out there that are better than you. Yes. You're not the best at everything.
No, it's such a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? Where you're like, wait a minute.
Like this is a great move, but actually, damn, you're better than me. But that's good because you're on my team. Like, yeah. So yeah, in terms of like outsourcing, it can be the best thing you do. And also what I will say is, you might not find the right person straight away. That's what I've found. You know, you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to hire you to do my writing. Cool, do a bit of training. Brilliant. It's not that easy. And I'm one of those guys, my mum always tells me, Charlie, you're all or nothing. So I want everything now. I'm going to invest it in and I want the return straight away. And sometimes you just have to roll with it because it might take a few months to get these things set up that you think should take a few days. Yeah. It's not always that simple. But yeah, no, at the minute, everything's looking good. And I've got a few jobs coming up in the next couple of months and we're going to fly out with the videographers and film some stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, man, we'll see what happens.
That's fun. Do you know what I found one of the most challenging things when I started to hire people, and you just touched on it then, is when you know, because you're so used to working by yourself. Yeah. So there will be a task that you can turn around in a couple of hours, but now you need to brief someone else who's probably going to take a bit longer because they don't think the same way as you do. But you also have to give them notice because then they have to juggle the rest of their work, which sounds so obvious, but it is such a change because I'm like, or I could just do it really quick. Yeah, and you've got to really stop yourself from being like, no, because then how are they supposed to learn how to create something the same way that you would? It's so difficult. Yeah, that's another thing. I can really relate to that even this past week. Like, I'm asking this guy, you know, when can I get the reel back and send me over some trial edits? And I forget that I'm not paying him a full-time salary. He's not my employee. He's got other clients that he's working with as well. So unless you're willing to take him on full-time and pay him a full-time salary, he's a freelance videographer. So you've got to work around their time. And I think that's key as well. As long as you've got a good relationship, that's the main thing. If you're going to work with anyone, I've always preached this, is it's not about how good they are at stuff, but it's not all about how good they are. It's all about your relationship. Yeah. If I'm working with you, we got to get on. We got to be on the same way. Yeah. You know. So as long as you have that, and there's then there'll be less disagreements. They seem to understand. But you got to be a bit more relaxed and laid back about it when you start outsourcing it. Yeah, it's so strange, isn't it? It's such a weird like switch of dynamic. Definitely. So you travel a lot. I think is a fair statement to make. Definitely. Talk me through, like, paint a picture. Like within the last year, where have you been?
Oh, wow. A lot of play. The big one for me, if anyone's watching this that follows me, will be LA. I've spent a lot of time in LA, went out on a couple of jobs with Disney to promote their new cruise line, then went out to LA for an expo. And then I went out and done a trip to Hawaii. Where else have I been? Came back to Europe. I had jobs with like the Spanish tourism board, Lapland, which was awesome. Been over to Paris. Yeah, for me, it's like, it's juggling at the past year, it's been taking on work.
Yeah.
Wherever the work sends me.
Yeah.
This is another thing people listening probably don't understand. They think you're constantly on holiday.
But you're like actually working.
Yeah. For me, it's just like, I'm going there to do a job.
Yeah.
I make it look good and I make it look like I'm on holiday. That's kudos to me. But yeah, it's a constant hustle. So I've not really done much of my own planning on my own trips. So at the minute, I'm kind of getting the balance between, going where the work takes me, but also going where I'm passionate about and my projects that I want to do as well. But been all over the place, man. Last year's been pretty wild, as well as juggling my personal life and moving to London. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey. So
I think it's fair to say that you quite literally get paid to travel the world. Like that's a fair statement.
When people ask me what I do, I never know what to say. And I always feel kind
you should just say that.
Drop mic. I get paid to travel the world. Thanks, Charlie. Nice to meet you. I never know what to say. Like I'll say like, oh, I'm a content creator or travel blogger, or I go down those lines. But essentially, when I speak to friends, or if I'm having a hard time, I remind myself, Charlie, you're living your dream. I'm living my dream and a lot of other people's dreams. I'm always very aware of that. And essentially, I get paid to travel the world. So we're blessed. Yeah.
I mean, how do you actually earn an income? Can you break down like some of your income streams? Yeah, this is key, and I think this will be beneficial to a lot of people listening. There's no one way. Like there's so many ways to work online now. For one, if you want to work remotely, you probably can. You probably have a skill set that you can do that. For me, most of my money comes through Instagram partnerships because I have a large platform there. I work with tourism boards. They'll pay me a lump sum. I'll go out and I'll advertise the destination to my audience. Great. Whether that's through Instagram, YouTube, that kind of thing. But then on the side, then my passive income is through my travel blog. Cool. So I have a website, charliepauly.com. Yeah. Every destination I visit, I used to write, and now my content writer writes guides, itineraries. When you search in Google, top 10 things to do in East London. Hopefully my website comes up, you end up on there, and then those annoying little ads. They make me money. So just scroll past them. So that brings me decent passive income every month and keeps me secure. And then brand partnerships and sponsored posts on socials is like a lot more money. That's up and down, So. How do you get deals with tourism boards? Because this is what people ask me all the time.
So a lot of it now at my stage comes to me, and I have a manager who does like outsourcing and has a network there. But in the beginning, I was just blind sending emails. Like send a DM on Instagram. Have you got a PR contact for me? I'd love to pitch. And then go away, write a pitch, send it an email. And they'll come back, and if they don't want to work with you, they'll make it very clear. But then you just keep them sweet and say, no worries. If anything comes up, any opportunities, add me to the roster. We've definitely done 3-4 years of hard hustle and just knocking on doors. And now I'm at a stage, fortunately, where people come to me and see my work. So
I think that's really important, because people often see the stage that you're in now.
Oh, massively.
And then they just think like, oh, okay, well, they either think I can start and then it will just come to me straight away, or they think, well, why should I have to pitch? Like everyone else just seems to get the opportunities.
I'll touch on that quickly as well. When I started blogging, so we done like a couple of years on Instagram, and then we realized the money was very up and down. Like 1 month you'll make a load of brand deals, next month you don't make no money. So then we got talking to a friend in Bali, and we started writing on the travel blog to try and bring that passive income. And there was some kind of stat that, like, I don't want to get it wrong, but it was like, 70% of people start a travel blog and they don't see a return on investment in the first 6 months. So they scrap it. So the mentality was always like, well, I'll be the guy that goes through that. We don't need to see income for a year. But I know that one day that blog's going to make money. So I'm just going to keep churning it out. And that's a difficult thing to do as well, because you don't know for sure it's going to, you know what I mean?
It's complete self-belief. And it's hilarious because, again, another misconception is people think, okay, I have to have belief in this all the time, because your self-belief will wobble. Really? It's just whether or not you're able to just like talk yourself back into it and keep going. And that is hard.
100%. It's a mindset thing. You just always hotel back yourself. That's what we say. I love that. That's all we do. No one's ever going to back you as much as you back yourself. Yes. And that's key. So even if you can't quite see the end goal, or you don't know how it's going to happen or how you're going to earn money, if you're passionate about it enough,
you'll make it work.
You'll make it work.
Yeah.
And that's very easy. People probably look at this and think, easy said than done. But trust me,
but it is genuinely,
but
you did do it.
I was just a backpacker.
Easier said than done, but you did it.
Literally, man.
Yeah.
I was just rolling around Asia with my backpack.
Yeah.
And I love traveling that much. I was like, I can't get a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I got to somehow find a way of making money online. And it just so happened that I fell into social media. It could have been an e-commerce store. It could have been a blog. It could have been anything. But yeah, when you're that determined, you'll make something work.
So with your blog, because this is really interesting, how, like, what percentage in terms of your income would you say that is? Like, is it a big chunk?
Yeah, like straight up, I'll probably pull in like $3,000 a month.
Nice.
On my
that's
blog.
just passive.
And that's just passive. At this stage, yeah. So that'll be like half of that comes from ads that you see, and half of it comes from affiliates,
right?
Where people click through my links and they book a tour and I get a little kickback, or they book a hotel and I get a kickback. But yeah, passive on that. And then I pay, obviously I have a content writer who I pay out of that money. Yeah. And that's taken 6 years to get to that stage. Yeah. But it's doable. Yeah.
How long did it take before it started to make money? Do you remember?
I remember my first $6. Someone booked a hotel through one of my blue links.
Nice.
Like, recommended a hotel, someone booked it and we got $6 and I was like, buzzing. We're making money
you were
online.
like, what should I do with it?
Yeah, dinner's on me, baby. Right, we're making money online now. I'm a travel blogger.
Yeah.
But no, this was like 2016 and it took a good 6 months before I saw anything kind of coming back. Yeah. But also like, back to your question, was like, that's my passive. I don't know like percentage wise, but then I can earn like, sometimes on Instagram I'll have 10 grand months. Sometimes I'll have $0 months. Like, it's just that. It's up to
Yeah. So. How does that compare to like because you mentioned you've got like guides and stuff that you sell. So they're like your digital products.
Oh no, I don't have any digital projects. No. I need to do it. Yeah, you need to help me with that. You need to help me with that, man. Yeah, we need to lock you in and get some help on that.
You need some digital products.
The thing is, I've never really understood the digital project side of what I do, because people are giving it all away for free. Like I already do my blogs, and if people want an itinerary, they can go there. Yeah. So I definitely need a digital product of some sort. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's true. Let's talk about that afterwards. Okay, that's amazing. So you literally get paid to travel. Now, if we were talking to like a creator who was just starting out or who's in the early stages of their journey, what advice would you give them specifically for, let's say, travel creators first, and then maybe just like broader advice afterwards?
This is a difficult one because I get DMs like this all the time. My personal advice and what I've seen succeed for myself is look at what sets you apart. So people see these viral videos and they think, okay, I'll do that. But people are already doing it. People are already doing it, and they're doing it probably way better than you can. So but then it's very hard, because once you start posting your own content that you believe in, and it gets no views, then you see the viral ones and you think, I should just do it. So it's very difficult, but again, back yourself and think long term. Like for me, I've always tried to just put myself in my own box and try not to copy what other people are doing and just rely on my personality and my self-belief. But yeah, in answer to your question, find what sets you apart, and also find what you're passionate about. Like, even in the last few years, you've seen Francis, the guy with the trains that does it's like, if he'd have told his friends, I'm going to document, they'd be like, what? But he's passionate about that. And there's many other creators doing random stuff on the internet. There's a space for everybody. There's a space for everybody. So don't do something because you see it doing well. Do it because you're passionate about it, and that's going to make your life 10 times easier. Sure.
I completely agree. Do you feel like you've made any major mistakes throughout your journey?
No, but it's not mistakes, but the last year has been difficult because of the transition period from going from a travel couple to now a solo male. I lost like 50,000 followers.
Really? Yeah. No.
Which is more than a lot of people's platforms. Like,
what, in a year?
In like 6 months. It's plateaued now.
Stop it. That is insane.
And that, to be honest, going back, that affected me, because I was like, you don't like
also,
me? You don't like me?
Like, you've had a breakup, and then everyone's leaving.
Like, kick me while I'm down.
Jesus.
I was like, do I just get a job? What do I do?
Oh no.
And like, but then my parents are like my biggest fans. I speak to them a lot. They were saying it's a different niche, isn't it? Probably a lot of couples followed your couple content. They don't want to see you on your own. Maybe solo girls looked at your couple content because they were envisioning the dream. They don't want to see a guy backpacking around, you know? So once you start to understand why people are dropping off, that's fine. But yeah, it was like drop it. Every day I'd drop up thousands more and I was like, when's this going to stop, man? When's this going to stop? But I went from like 330 on Instagram, 330,000. And now I think I'm at like 260 or something. But it's plateaued now.
Yeah.
And then I've like, we're like restructuring the business. And this summer we're going to go again and hopefully it can only go upwards. You know?
Yeah. And then you're going to attract people who are interested in the new content that you're sharing, which I think is better than you having those 50,000 people who, if they were never going to engage with your content again anyway.
So key.
Because you have a good engagement. Like when I was looking for your content, you can tell, and I know you mentioned this before, you've got like this group of advocates who comment a lot.
Yeah.
And like, but you've got a lot of them. Yeah. That's why I was so surprised to hear that you've lost a lot of people. Because I was thinking you don't have any signs of an account that's losing engagement overall.
Yeah.
So obviously you're just losing people who weren't going to engage in the first place.
Yeah, which is that's another thing that my dad mentioned. I was like, yeah, that's good, isn't it? If I lose another 50, get rid of them. Get rid of them. And if you're not interested and you're not on board, keep it moving.
Exactly.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. So because it's kind of like, I guess you went from, when people have business partners.
Yeah, massive.
And then they split up.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Of course, because it would have been like, you would have had like a legal entity.
We grew the thing from scratch and it got to this stage and then, she didn't want to, fortunately, we split the business because she didn't want to do socials anymore anyway.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask.
No.
How...
That would have been a lot more messy, I think. But no, like 6 months before we broke up, at the time we were absolutely fine. There was no thoughts of breaking up, but she just didn't really want to do socials anymore. She was a lot more shy and reserved.
Okay.
And we just had a chat and I said, okay, cool. So we done some maths and come to a figure and I bought her out of the business and switched everything from Charlie and Lauren to Charlie Pauly. Yeah. So kind of got in there at a good time because that would have been a lot more messy during the breakup, I think. Yeah.
Yes. When you were talking, I was thinking, I can't figure out how you'd have done this if you both wanted to keep the social.
Yeah.
Like that would have been so difficult.
I was lucky there. She's super understanding and we still have a good relationship now. So
good.
Yeah, that was a healthy, probably one of the healthiest business and breakup situations. Yeah.
And how did you find like the pressure to remain consistent in social media and stuff when you're clearly going through something in life that's quite difficult?
Off. Yeah, I dropped off. I just said
took a break.
I just said straight up, like I hadn't taken a break in 6 years. I can't continue this while I'm trying to juggle my own emotions. I was very low and so I think that's key as well for anyone listening. Like, don't feel pressure with social media, even if it's your full-time job. It's just social media, man.
Yeah,
your life goes on. Make sure you're looking after your mental health first. That's key.
Yeah. Okay. So far you've given us so many good tips and pieces of information. I want to wrap up by asking you some questions just about like your creative process and like the camera gear you use, because I really love your content and I am not the kind of creator who is creative in that way. I'm like an educational creator.
Yes.
So like, this is for selfish reasons too. I like do not know anything about camera gear. Like, let's say you're speaking to someone who's just getting started. What would you recommend that they purchase?
If you can afford it, I feel like the best affordable camera is actually the one I use, which is the Sony A7 III. There's like levels up from there. There's the A7 IV, but like most people will vouch for the A7 III. Yeah. But also as well, it's about your budget, right? So like, don't break the bank. Like you were saying earlier, it's not all about the gear. Like, so with what I do, I try and keep up to date with the latest iPhone because I've got to have the crispest images on my Instagram stories and stuff like that. Yeah. And I roll with the A7 III. But you can just do like, if you're just looking to vlog or get into photography, like there's like Canon G7X, a lot of like, what do you call it? Like the beauty girls on YouTube. And they'll use a Canon G7X. Yeah, it's like small, it's pretty cheap and it does a good job. So there's plenty of stuff out there. But definitely if you're going to be, one thing I learned, if you're going to be vlogging or doing any kind of work outside, make sure you buy a microphone, man. Yeah. You can have the best camera in the world, but if people can't hear you, the audio is so great.
What microphone would you recommend? For like specifically like outdoor vlogging?
I use a Video Mic Pro.
Okay.
It's by Rode. The brand is called Rode.
Yeah.
If you're into it, you'll know it. But if you're an absolute amateur, it's Rode Video Mic Pro Plus, I think it's called. But there's just like one of those little shotgun mics that attaches to the top of your camera. Nice. And I'm that guy like walking around.
This is one of the things I was going to ask you in terms of like your creative process and stuff. How do you feel so confident filming yourself when you're out and about? Or do you not feel confident and you're kind of faking it? Like
No. 100% is me. Like 100% is me.
Very impressive.
I just don't know how to say it without sounding arrogant. But I've just always had this confidence.
Like that.
I've just always had this self-belief and confidence that's been instilled from a young age. Like background is my parents, we had a professional boxing gym. So,
cool.
Yeah. So my parents, it was called Pauly's Gym and I was always boxing from like age 6 to 20. So I think that definitely has a lot to do with my character and like being the best and having self-belief and confidence and that kind of thing. So I think even when I stepped away from boxing, I just carried that confidence and self-belief into the real world.
Yeah.
I don't really care what people think of me. Okay, I'll take your opinion with a pinch of salt. And those close to me, I'm always asking their opinions and I'm asking for feedback.
Yeah.
But to the average person down the street, like, you can laugh. Even when we started taking photos in Asia and we didn't have a following on social media, you see people pointing and laughing. I said, that's okay, man. They'll be the ones following me one day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And they probably are.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it probably comes across and sounds arrogant, but in the nicest possible way. You just got to have that vision and just back it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so final question for me, especially on the creative process. Like, how do you prepare for a trip where you know you're going to get a lot of content? Like, are there certain steps you take? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just doing that today before I came here. So I've just booked a job in Vegas at the end of the month. And I had a call with my videographer. And now I'm learning, you have to have some kind of planning. So we're going to try and do 48 hours in Vegas. And then out of that, we'll get some content for Instagram. But a lot of it really is just freeballing. Like, you go out there, you don't really know what's going to happen, especially if you're not on a strict itinerary. So when I work with tourism boards, I have a strict itinerary and it's easy for me to pick apart the fun parts and say, we need to get that video. Yeah. If I'm just going on a trip with one of the boys, like, I'll just freeball it, man. Something, you just got to be ready at all times and something fun is going to happen. But yeah, I try and note down. I'm the most basic, simple guy. Like, I just run on notes on my phone.
Nice.
Like, keep it simple.
It works.
Yeah, it works.
Why complicate it?
Yeah, it works for me. I'm very much like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, it works for me. And it's also about, for me as well, having other creatives to chuck ideas and input as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's big. Bouncing off people, because you can drive yourself insane sitting in on your own, staring at a screen and trying to perfect everything. Yeah. Just go out and have some fun, man.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. What's next for you then? You've been hinting that you made some hires, you're working on some stuff. Like, what can we expect from you?
Fingers crossed. For me, like, same Charlie. If you know my socials, cheeky Charlie, but at a higher quality.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, rather than just running on my iPhone and doing bits and bobs, I hope to make it a lot more professional and a lot more presenter-like. So rather than me holding the camera and talking and vlogging, hopefully I'm mic'd up and I'm talking to a camera like I am now, you know, and giving it a bit more professional color grading and transitions and stuff like that. Because I feel like, again, a lot of people now, it's a perfect example. You go on Instagram now, see so many people saying, here are the top 10 things to do in London. Oh, here's a hidden bar in London, which is all well and good. And it does well and it goes viral, but no one's really doing that kind of content at a high grade. You know, they're running around with their phone, they're doing a bit of voiceover. Fine, it works. But what sets me apart and why are you going to hire me is look at the levels.
Yeah, I can imagine
pressure
that.
on myself now because it better come off, man.
I mean, I'm going to put links to all of your channels in the show notes, so everyone can check in about what are we talking, 6 to 8 months?
Jesus,
everyone check. No, but I can imagine that giving you such a great like value proposition when you are speaking with a brand, when you can show them like, look what I'm going to create for you. This is like a movie. Like, I can't imagine many brands would say no to that. Charlie, what a great chat. You've given us so much info.
I've enjoyed it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I've absolutely loved having you on. So thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem.